Okay, so, for those of you who haven't heard the news, E3 has been cancelled. And apparently just, it didn't garner enough interest from everyone, which isn't really a surprise. I don't know, I was actually going to tweet out that I thought it might get cancelled this year as well, because I saw a lot of companies were just not interested in pulling out, and I felt like I wasn't sure what they were even going to show at this point. I never liked E3 that much personally. It started off very much as like an industry focused event, focusing more on like journalists and like shareholders and stuff, before it really opened up to the public more so. But I don't know if it's just nostalgia, but I have a lot of like, I have fond memories of like watching it, but I've never went to E3 myself. It was just, I always like watched it was on every year. It was just one of those things that was like a staple of the industry, and it was just cool to see. I feel weird having this in dark mode, but I also don't like the light mode. I don't want to blind everyone. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure you guys don't care that much. But yeah, after a year announcing its return, because it got cancelled because of COVID originally. Like, people had less and less interest in E3 for the longest time, and then COVID came along, and I feel like the pandemic in general just sped everything up. I think we had said this on the podcast that we didn't think E3 was going to last much longer, and here we are. I've heard that they're not really looking into 2024 either. So I don't know. I think E3 might just be done for good, potentially. Yeah, most of the companies do their own events now. Like, I think everyone started to realize, especially with the pandemic, that really sped things up. But before that, we had like Nintendo doing their like Nintendo Directs and like the Nintendo Treehouse stuff. Then a lot of companies started to follow suit. And this was prior to the pandemic, and then after the pandemic, everyone was like, "Oh, we just do these at home, and we can do them whenever we want." So everyone has started to go that direction in general, which it is a little sad seeing, like a staple finally go. But I know some people hated working E3, but it was like, I don't know, it was a nice thing to watch. Although, we have the Summer Games Fest now, which kind of took its place, because they never really adapted to the times. And is it Jeff Keighley's event? Is Jeff Keighley the one who does Summer Games Fest? Is he one that set that up? But pretty much that's like taken the place. Yeah, it is Jeff Keighley, okay. He just like basically was like, okay, so E3 isn't happening. Let's do a digital event and get everyone together. And like, he has a ton of connections, knows a ton of people, and just like, I don't know, it was probably a lot of work putting that together. But he actually adapted to the times with the pandemic and everything. And then I think because of Summer Games Fest, that kind of just took, and it being digital, it kind of just took off, and then it's kind of just replaced E3 in that sense. I have a theory Jeff is becoming the Musk of gaming. He must be stopped before he turns into a villain. No, not Jeff, okay? Jeff's a good guy, okay? He's not going to turn to the dark side. Jeff Keighley's one of those people in the industry that he does a lot of good things, a lot of cool things. So, I don't know. I think it is kind of sad. I don't know if it says any more in here. It simply did not garner the sustained interest necessary to execute in a way that would showcase the size, strength, and impact of our industry. He's acquired too much power. Listen, Jeff's good right now, okay? Jeff's doing fine. Following IGN's report, the ESA issued the following public statement from Kyle Marston, Kishi's Global VP of Gaming, Reed Pop. This was a difficult decision because of all the effort we and our partners put toward... yeah, I can't imagine cancelling an event like this after putting in all the effort. And how much time must have went into this. It's like, it must actually be a hard decision. But, it is what it is. But we had to do what's right for the industry and what's right for E3. We appreciate and understand that interested companies wouldn't have playable demos ready, and that resourcing challenges made being at E3 this summer an obstacle they couldn't overcome. For those who did commit to E3 2023, we're sorry we can't put on the showcase you deserve and that you've come to expect from Reed Pop's event experiences. Okay, so I've watched videos. This is stupid. I don't know how to mod besides ban. Alright, we'll look into it, Billy, okay? Don't worry, we'll give you more mod tools. We'll give you more power, okay? But not like Jeff Keighley amounts of power, because apparently that's too much. Jeff Keighley's a little too motivated, okay? He's right now playing Bury the Lights while he sits there watching all the news about E3 getting cancelled. Apparently they're saying they'll work together on future E3 events, but I have seen word that 2024 they're maybe not considering it. Again, if more and more companies start putting their own events on, and there's not really a need to do it, then I don't know how you'll get the interest or get enough people around. I think it is a little sad. I would love to go. I would have loved to have went to E3 at least once. You know, I like the idea of having the experience of going to a con, because I've not went personally. And I mean, it'd be super cool, but the writing on the wall has been on the wall for this for a while. Again, we spoke about it on the podcast years ago, that we kind of thought this was going to happen. The pandemic, it really sped everything up. And even before that, people were losing interest, so it's not surprising. They could come... Honestly, if they, like, adapt with the times a bit, they could pull it together. But I don't know. It really depends whether big publishers are like, do we want to do this? You know? He sits on a garden chair on top of the Hollywood sign looking over LA while I'm just on there approaching his place. Yeah, you know what? I think I saw on Twitter the Summer Games Fest was like tweeted out, hey, E3's not gone, guys. We got the Summer Games Fest coming up in June. Same, always wanted to go. Yeah, I mean, there's like plenty of other cons. You still have like Penny Arcade doing packs and stuff. So you have some like the big events like that are out there, but like E3 was like the big one for the longest time. The big one for like, you know, world premieres. You know, it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Maybe they come back. I think again, if they can get together developers and they can get publishers to like agree to like all band together, and maybe the big publishers do like digital showcases and they have like smaller indie devs and stuff around. I don't know. It's doable, but you do have Summer Games Fest now as well, which again is kind of just taking the place of that. And Jeff Keighley puts on, you know, a good show, so they kind of have that to compete with. I imagine there will be more events, just smaller scale. I mean, there is a lot of smaller like game conventions and cons that happen anyway. So, and then you've got Summer Games Fest. So I don't think it's really like necessary to have more. But yeah, this was just like, it's kind of, you know, like seeing an era of gaming get left behind. Like, I'm not super sad about it, but you know, it's like the little nostalgia from it where I'm like, that kind of sucks. But also, it was apparently a nightmare of an event to work. So I don't blame people for not enjoying E3 that much. Alright, but yeah, that's E3. That's all. I don't think there's much more to say on it. I think it's just a case of, yeah, we'll see what happens next year. Jeff Keighley's taking over though, okay? He's coming for everywhere else in gaming, okay? Every other event, it will be Jeff Keighley's. He will own them all.